Are you getting ready for a trip to China, whether it's for fun or maybe for business or work, or maybe you're considering a move there? Well, I'm going to share my top tips for how you can actually pay for things as a foreigner on your next trip to China. Now, before I jump into it, I'm Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer, and for this video, I used to live in China for 5 years, and most recently just went back for a work trip. But I do want to remind you to like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. If you like more free content, predominantly around event planning, event production, give my podcast a listen, the Better Events Podcast, which I co-host with fellow event pro Mary Davidson. We dive even more into some of these topics. I do talk about some of my work abroad internationally, so it's fun. It's wherever you listen to podcasts, new episodes every single Wednesday. So as I hinted, I used to live in China for 5 years from up until about 2019, and I moved back to the US. I hadn't gone back since COVID just because events and things had stopped in China, but most recently this fall I returned for a tennis event, and I gotta admit, things had changed. I know the world has changed in the last 4 years. Even if we didn't have a global pandemic, things probably would have changed. But for me, one of the most frustrating things for myself, as well as the guests and folks that I was working with, these were pro athletes, coaches, officials, Americans, Europeans from all over the world who were coming to China and all had not been back in a number of years. And the frustrating part was it was very difficult to pay for things. And so I want to set you up for success for your next trip so you don't have to fumble your way through and you walk off the plane with confidence that you know how you're going to be able to pay for stuff in China. So my first tip is that cash still works. In COVID times, China, everywhere here in the US as well, a lot of folks got away from cash. Some businesses not accepting it at all. In China, you can still pay with cash. Taxi drivers, small corner shops, restaurants, they will take it. You just won't see it as commonly. But as a foreigner or a visitor, cash is king. So I would make sure before you leave your home country, take out cash in your home currency. When you arrive in China, try to do the exchange at the airport where you can exchange for local currency. This was something that in 2019, I would use an ATM usually in China, and I would just put my foreign bank card in the ATM, my US bank card, and I could take out Chinese RMB, Chinese money. And we had a lot of difficulty. A lot of ATMs were not taking our international cards this time around. And so I highly encourage you to take that cash out, travel with the cash, exchange it. Again, it doesn't have to pay for your whole trip, but just as much as you feel comfortable carrying on you. And so outside of cash, I really highly encourage you to download Alipay, which I'm going to put the logo right here so you can see what it looks like. This is a Chinese app, which for some folks, that might give you pause, but it was one of the most easy way to pay for everything. You can link your foreign bank card, your credit card, or your debit card if you wanted. I chose to do my international credit card, and that just made me feel a little bit safer with, my data and things like that. But everybody takes Alipay. Everyone from the taxi driver to the woman cooking, this Genbing breakfast pancake I love on the side of the street to the big fancy shops. They all take Alipay. Now, the only rub here is you do need to have access to data or Wi-Fi for this to work. If you are someone who only uses Wi-Fi in the hotel and then you're dataless as you walk around, this could prove to be a challenge for you. But again, at the airport, you can get a SIM card and get some data. This was the easiest way. And I did not bring that much cash with me, and I did not follow my own advice and exchange at the airport. So I ended up using Alipay for everything while I was there. Now, a couple other options you have are WeChat Pay. WeChat Pay is China's version of WhatsApp. This is possible, but I found it was actually a lot harder as a foreigner because you had to have a Chinese bank account. There were some workarounds, like if someone could transfer you money, but it got complicated, and I was only there for 2 weeks, and I just didn't have the time or the patience to work through that. So again, I always was going with Alipay, but WeChat Pay is also just as widely accepted. Last but not least, you can use your international credit card or your bank card. The hard part here is that big stores and big restaurants and malls will accept it. Hotels will, of course, accept it. But if you're trying to take taxis or eat at more local places, you're going to find a lot of folks don't take credit cards. And this was true back before 2019. I've always had advised folks to avoid using their cards just for their day-to-day things. So again, if you're someone who's looking to get out and explore, or you think you're going to have a lot of expenses on your business trip, I highly encourage you to either lean on cash or link your business credit card to Alipay. So it still comes to your US card, it's just going through Alipay. Well, hopefully that helped answer your questions about how to pay for things in China. This was such an integral part of my experience, and as soon as we figured it out, made everything so much easier. But that brings me to the end of my video. I'm Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer based in Seattle, Washington, but I used to live in China, speak Mandarin Chinese, and I kind of feel like I have one foot here in America, one foot abroad. And I hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.